So the common questions amongst all Chiefs fans is where's Chris Jones been all season and what happened to our offense? We're going to dive into both of those things today. Stick around. Before we get going, if you like what you see, go ahead and give us a like on the video. And if you haven't become a subscriber already, what are you waiting for? Hit that sub button. Let's go. So Chris Jones just delivered one of his most dominant performances of the season. In Week 14 against the Texans, he put together his highest graded pass rush game of the year, clocking in at a ridiculous 92.4 according to PFF. His overall defensive grade for that game was a 90.3, his second highest output all season long. He was a monster, recording 8 total pressures, his single game high for the year, blowing past his previous high of 7 pressures back in Week 3. He even picked up his 4th sack of the season. So the play is there. The dominance is real. But here's the problem. The immediate reaction from fans and analysts alike wasn't just praise. It was, that's great, but where's this been all season? Why do his numbers feel so down? And it's a great question. And it speaks to one of the biggest paradoxes in football this year. Let's dive into the stats, because the data tells a fascinating story that completely contradicts the eye test. First, his overall season pass rush grade is a 90.4. This is not a slumping grade. In fact, it's the exact same elite grade he finished with back in the 2023 season, where he amassed 15 sacks and 91 total pressures. Furthermore, that 90.4 grade is currently tied for the 5th best pass rush grade in his entire career. So the quality of his pass rush is virtually unchanged and still very elite. Yet his raw totals, his pressures, his hurries, and his sacks are all down across the board from recent seasons. The feeling of ineffectiveness is very real, even if the grade is great. So why the disconnect? When you look at defensive tackles who have played a minimum of 600 snaps this season, an important workload qualifier, Chris Jones sits at number 4 in overall PFF grading. He's one of the few aging vets in that group at 31 years old, alongside only Cam Hayward and Leonard Williams. But when you break down the top 10 list of DTs, Jones is quietly a statistical monster. He finished 2nd in total pressures, number 1 in total hurries, and he ranks 2nd in QB hits. He is absolutely wreaking havoc on opposing QBs, arguably more than anyone else in the league, but he's not always getting the final sack. So why does he seem non-existent when you watch a game? The simplest, clearest answer may be this: total tackles. He finishes dead last amongst that top 10 defensive tackle group with only 14 total tackles. Compare that to Cam Hayward, who leads the group with 37. When a player isn't in on a run stop or a tackle in the middle of the field, they are simply on camera less. Less camera time, less visual impact, and less focus given to him by the broadcast crew leads to the perception that he's just not doing anything. Less run game involvement has made him feel less dominant. This lack of tackles and the overall drop in his finishing numbers directly ties back to one crucial organizational failure: the Chiefs' inability to get him meaningful help. For yet another season, Chris Jones has no true pass rushing partner on the interior. Every other defensive tackle on the roster is a specialized run stuffer. This means offensive lines have a simple game plan: triple team him if you have to. He must routinely eat double teams and triple teams, which taxes his stamina. Since there's a lack of pass rushing depth, he is often either visibly tiring out on the field or having to come off for chunk plays every few series. Look around the league at other dominant forces. Cam Hayward has TJ Watt to his side. Leonard Williams has a formidable partner in the middle with Byron Murphy. Jones has no such complementary player. At the end of the day, Chris Jones is having a very, very solid year. Is it the historic Defensive Player of the Year level year we've come to expect? Hell no, it's not, but it's mainly due to the team's inability to take the target off of his back. And let's be honest, Chris Jones is still 31 years old. Time is undefeated. But even in his older age, he remains a pioneer. Defensive tackles were never supposed to be athletic enough to get 15 sacks a season. The game is also evolving. Modern offenses are shifting to quicker throws and less time in the pocket, which naturally cuts down on everyone's sack numbers. Yes, his raw stats are down this year, like almost every other top defensive tackle in the NFL. But the advanced data, the PFF grades, the hurries, the pressures, all of it proves he's still a hell of a football player. Chris Jones impacts a game like absolutely nobody else on the interior. Don't let the lack of flashy tackles fool you. He's doing the dirty work that unlocks the entire defense. If you take away one thing from this, let it be this closing sentence: Stone Cold Chris Jones is an all-time elite hellraiser in the trenches. Period.
The next great touchdown is coming, and you can bet on it. We've teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook, which is the best place to bet those touchdowns. DraftKings has industry-leading live betting market availability, which feature dynamic odds that move with the game and more open live betting markets more often. So get in on the action and sign up using our promo code ACU right now. With DraftKings, the crown is yours.
So after years of being the unshakable champion, the Chiefs dynasty is officially facing a cold, bitter reality. The loss to the Texans did more than just drop the team to a 6-7 record. It was the final, devastating whimper of a championship formula that has gone simply stale. The front office now stares down a roster crisis and a financial disaster that Brett Veach must navigate if this era is to continue. The first immediate problem is money. KC is projected to be nearly $43 million over the salary cap, a figure second to only the Cowboys. To even become a participant in free agency, Brett Veach has to start cutting. Painful moves are required here. Releasing players like right tackle Jawan Taylor, linebacker Drew Tranquill, and defensive end Mike Dana could save us $40 million right there. Even with a contract restructure for Mahomes, they will only have $30 to $40 million in cap space. That's enough to be a minor player, but not enough to patch all the holes. And those holes are everywhere. Defensively, the unit is slow, old, and unathletic, forcing coordinator Steve Spagnuolo to relentlessly blitz just to get pressure. The core of the secondary is about to hit the free agent market, and the defense remains a liability against the pass. But the real crisis is the one that made the offense pedestrian this season. The passing game, which was once the most feared unit in the sport, has been plagued by a pass-catching group, including Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and even Travis Kelce, that collectively struggles to beat man coverage and even hold on to the football. In the loss to the Houston Texans alone, the pass catchers combined for 6 drops, and 8 if you count the Thornton end zone drop and the Rice drop due to the hard hit, the most in the Patrick Mahomes era. Compounding this is the coaching dilemma. Offensive coordinator Matt Nagy's second stint has seen the league catch up to the Chiefs, with the offense scoring at only the 15th best clip for 2 years running. Even Hall of Fame coach Andy Reid is facing scrutiny for his rigid reliance on a non-explosive run game, stubbornly sticking to running backs from the shotgun, even when the analytics scream for a change. If the Chiefs are to refresh their scheme, they may need to fire Nagy and hire an outsider here. Someone who can bring in some new ideas, not just a familiar face from the past. The future looks even darker from a resource perspective as well. The Chiefs have only 6 draft picks in 2026. This lack of capital means Veach must consider the truly tough choices. He must begin planning for a future without Travis Kelce, whose contract situation looms large. He must decide whether to commit long-term money to both all-pro corner Trent McDuffie and wide receiver Rashee Rice, both of whom are due extensions after the next season. To escape this financial and talent crunch, the GM may need to turn to the nuclear option here, just as he did with Tyreek Hill back in 2021. Trading a star like Trent McDuffie could return multiple top 100 draft picks, giving the franchise the breathing room it desperately needs. This is the cold, hard reality facing the Kansas City Chiefs. The dynasty that was defined by winning all those close games, going 12-0 last season, is now defined by losing them, with a 1-7 record in one-score games this season. The Chiefs are vanquished, and the road back to the Super Bowl will be the most difficult test of the Mahomes-Reid era. Get down in the comments and let us know what you think. Do you think Chris Jones is having a solid year, or do you think we're being tricked because he's not getting a lot of tackles? Do you think Brett Veach is going to have his hands full trying to figure out this roster in 2026? And will the team go to the nuclear option and try to trade Trent McDuffie? That's going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for liking, subscribing, clicking that bell. Share this with a friend. We'll catch you next time. Go Chiefs.